This is a real quick video about a couple of things you need to know for this week. First, we're going to start with write protecting USB drives. This is going to be important for a couple of reasons, which I'll explain. The second is going to be the backup, which you're going to use for this week's quiz. There's a backup that you'll need to download and restore. We'll talk about both of these right now. So there are going to be times when you need to write protect USB drives. For one thing, when you're going to do any kind of investigations, you want to be able to verify that you haven't written to the USB drive and somehow altered the data on the drive. We'll talk about the easiest way to do that on a Windows device. The second reason is that sometimes Windows creates that pesky system volume information even if you've run gpedit.msc. I've actually run gpedit.msc quite a few times just to check to make sure it was still set. And there are some Windows operations that create the system volume information folder in spite of my best efforts. So when I suspect that that might happen, I write protect the USB stick. There are two files on the web course right now, writeprotectoff.reg and writeprotecton.reg. And if you download those, those will help you turn write protecting off and on for your USB devices. And now we'll go through those. Okay, so here I've got two files, write protect off and write protect on. If I want to write protect my USB sticks, I'll double click here. Now bear in mind this write protects all of your USB devices. So double click here, and it's going to give you a couple of warnings. Okay, so now your USB devices are write protected. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if it really is write protected. Let's go ahead and create a file, or try to anyway. Doesn't even give me the new option. Let me see if I can rename this. Doesn't even give me the rename. It doesn't even give me the options. Let's try to copy something over here. I'll try to copy a shortcut. Okay, and it gives me an error here. So it truly is write protected. Now if I turn the write protection off, I just double click this, and I'll get the same kind of error, I'll get the same kind of warnings. Go ahead and do it. So now the write protection for my USB devices is off. If you wanted to take a look, these are just registry commands, and you can see what it looks like here. You could actually edit this if you wanted to manually. What I actually did was I went ahead and I created the registry key plus entry with its value, and then I just exported the key to these files. So another thing you're going to have to do is download a device backup from http://ricklineker.com/fatdemousb.zip, and inside of the zip is fatdemousb.001, which is the actual backup file. Then you need to restore it to a USB stick. The USB stick that I backed it up from was 8 gigs, so you'll need at least 8 gigs. So once you have this restored, there's one file that has been deleted. Be really careful that you don't mess up the USB stick. In other words, don't let Windows write system volume information or anything else, because you're going to have to manually undelete the file that's been deleted in order to get the information you need for this week's quiz. So what you're going to do is restore the file manually with WinHex, or you could use Autopsy if you want. And then you're going to use the information for week 7 quiz. Now, you actually could go ahead and use a program such as Recuva or whatever, and I would never know the difference. And you could get an A on the quiz, no problem. But I'm going to ask you to go through the process of using WinHex or Autopsy to undelete the file manually. And I showed you how to do that in part 1, so I'm going to ask you to go through the process.